As I record this video, we are 9 months into the pandemic, and many people have been furloughed, laid off, displaced. Many small and large businesses have closed down. The escrow industry has been luckier than most because we have continued to operate through the year. We are an essential business. The virus may rage on, but homes and businesses still get sold and refinance transactions are still coming in. But our little world reflects what is going on in the outside world. This is one story that reflects the life lived under the COVID-19 threat while working in the trenches of escrow. The transaction on a $1 million sale of a home was scheduled to close at the end of September. 2 weeks before that, we sent a mobile notary to meet with the sellers at their home and get the final grant deed signed and notarized, as well as the other pre-closing paperwork. A spunky couple, said our notary, with so much energy. The wife, Rose, was the driving force, whereas the husband, Albert, deferred to all her decisions. They were selling this home, and in another escrow, they were going to purchase a new home closer to their children. Before the closing, it was arranged between buyer and sellers that the seller would get to stay in the house for an additional 10 days so that their purchase escrow could close and they could move out smoothly. A $2,500 security deposit was to be held in escrow until the property was vacated and handed over to the buyer. The buyer was going to remodel the house, so they were in no hurry to move in. The transaction closed on the date agreed on. The escrow officer was ready to wire out the seller's net proceeds, minus the $2,500, and had to confirm with Rose regarding the seller's bank account information. This is a standard practice in our company. No money gets wired out until we confirm verbally the written instructions given to us. The escrow officer tried calling several times and was finally able to reach Rose. I am in the hospital, she said, but I know my account number and I will confirm it with you. Rose had come down with COVID-19. We immediately called her real estate agent who had been unable to reach Rose, and then we called her mobile notary who had come into contact with them. Contact tracing was no longer two pandemic words that we heard of but had no real frame of reference. We did our best to contact trace and alert all the parties to our transaction. The net proceeds went out as authorized, and the 10 days passed, and we did not hear about the disposition of the funds held. When we called the agent, we found out that Rose was still in the hospital. She was now on the ventilator, and worse, her husband, Albert, was also there. Until their kids came down to help, they would not be moving the house anytime soon. 30 days after she entered the hospital, Rose passed away. Her husband recovered, but their son also caught the virus. But thank goodness he recovered also. Their purchase escrow had to be canceled, and their children helped them vacate the property we had helped them sell. The family was devastated. Why is this a story worth mentioning? We have had, regretfully, clients who have passed midway through a transaction due to unforeseen circumstances. But there are two reasons, two timely lessons to be learned with this story. COVID-19 knows no boundaries, even when you take all precautions. I am repeating this now, 9 months into the pandemic, because we need to be reminded, even as we go through pandemic fatigue. Before she worsened and passed, Rose told her agent she thinks she got it from someone asymptomatic who attended the Bible study she hosted at her home. It is unnerving to think she could not pinpoint exactly when and where she picked up the virus. Here's an older couple, but in very good health. She, however, did have some underlying conditions. Her symptoms came on quickly and she was able to be isolated and notified others with whom she came into contact immediately. For days, the mobile notary we hired was in a state of panic. When did Rose get the virus? Was it before or after their signing meeting? The notary had not limited her contact with other clients after that particular signing. Was she infected? Did she unknowingly infect others? Until her negative test results came back, she was just beside herself. It was a bit of a relief to know that the virus was probably transmitted after the signing. What if Rose and Albert had come into our office to sign the paperwork, as many of our clients do now? Would our efforts at sanitizing after each appointment have been able to keep the virus away? Would the in-house signing of one client have placed all of our staff in jeopardy? We dodged one bullet, yes, but can we dodge others? And what of all those other mobile notaries out there who are signing clients? Are they keeping themselves safe? These are questions we can't help but struggle with and worry about during the pandemic. Do not take the attitude of, oh, I won't get it, and even if I did, I'm pretty healthy, I will get over it soon. You just don't know. You don't know who could infect you. You don't know who you will in turn infect. And you don't know how your body will change even with the mildest infection. If you do not think of yourself, at least think of those others whose health and well-being may very well be tied to yours. On one hand, we are grateful that all this has happened after our transaction had already closed. But on the other hand, it is difficult to comprehend that a person we had interaction with had suddenly succumbed and had become a statistic in this fight against this virus. It has been a little over 30 days from the day of closing. We are still holding the $2,500 and we are still waiting for instructions as to its release. This is Juliana too. Thank you for listening. On the one hand, I regret that I had to put this video together. On the other hand, once the event developed, I am glad that I was able to put this video together as a cautionary tale for others. This is another story straight from the escrow trenches.